Everything I do has a cause and effect to it. If I don't perform, that dude gets killed. Can I live with myself if that happens? No. So how do I control that? I control as many variables as I possibly can. I exhaust every resource I can to be as good as I possibly can be, so at least I can fall back and look myself in the mirror and go, not for a lack of effort.
Welcome back to Mulligan Brothers podcast, and today's episode is with DJ Shipley. Today's episode was powered by Huel, a quick, affordable, nutritionally complete source of food, and you can find out more with the link down below. As you guys know, I absolutely love this stuff, and it came all the way to Virginia Beach to shoot these episodes with us as we drove 3,000 miles around America to make these next few episodes happen. Let's dive into the episode. We've spoken today about the ego quite a lot and how where you are today required a death of the ego. But what I want to do is just go into the story of how it developed and how deep you got with it at one point. Like it was, you really, really did build that up. And I think from listening to the story, I think for where I'm guessing it started before this, but where it really started to build was those obsession over the details, like how deep and dark you went with that was really far. Like you pushed it really far. I mean, would you be able to explain of when that started, like when you really started to get obsessive with absolutely everything?
It really started in my third deployment. We had a leader come in that was from development group. He came in and his methodology was so different because of where he came from. Everything that he spit out of his mouth, I scooped up as the gospel. Everything he said, because everything he said made so much sense. It wasn't doctrine. It wasn't written in a book. It wasn't force-fed down your throat. It wasn't blouse your boots and cut your hair. It was very unconventional, and because of the way it was, it felt more like a samurai culture. Like everything he says is preparing you for that. Everything you do is preparing you for that one singular thing. Like, well, if you take everything you do over the course of the day and everything I do has an overlay effect with the end state, I'm naturally going to be better. If I stay on topic and I don't let myself stray too far, can I justify everything I do throughout my day? Did it support that? Did I do fitness? Yep. Why did I do fitness? Because it makes me good at that. How's your mindset? Great. I was in a cold plunge today. I was in a float tank yesterday. I'm doing all these things. I'm getting my mindset and I get my mental clarity ready for that, so I can process more information faster. Spending time with the team? Nothing but time with the team. Why? Because I want to know what you're thinking. I want to be able to read your body language from 30 feet down the hallway and teleport myself there to best support you. I need to spend time with the team. Everything I'm wearing, everything I'm listening to, everything I'm saying, does it represent the team in everything I do? Yeah. Am I perfect 100% of the time? Absolutely not. But it's that awareness that everything I do has a cause and effect to it. If I don't perform, that dude gets killed. Can I live with myself if that happens? No. So how do I control that? I control as many variables as I possibly can. I exhaust every resource I can to be as good as I possibly can be, so at least I can fall back and look myself in the mirror and go, not for a lack of effort. I did everything I could. I tried to read the body language. I try to teleport myself there. I train on the flat range. I jump. I do everything I can to be as connected to this process because it's the only one that really matters. And a lot of it was purpose-built compartmentalization. Like I've got to be able to set up walls and boundaries. You seen the movie Heat?
Yeah.
It's Robert De Niro from Heat. Don't get attached to anything you can't walk away from 30 seconds flat. Like, am I willing to walk away from my family right now and get on this airplane and never see them again? Yeah. Why? Because I love everybody on this airplane equally. Because I love this job more than I should. So yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice them and their future to get on this airplane with you, because this is the only thing I want to do. So when you do that, your whole routine really starts to line in. And it makes it really easy to justify the separation. So the not coming home, the staying late, the volunteering for trips and extra deployments and staying late on deployment and all the things you do, it's because it makes me better. And at the end of the day, that's what you were trying to convince. Well, so-and-so's husband just got killed. That won't happen to me. Why? Because I train more. Do you train more than him? Yeah. Do you really? Like, no. You train just as much as me. I'm just lying to myself. I'm trying to self-justify it. And I think a lot of it if you listen to that episode with Sean, you heard me talk about Nick Check. I think that was the one I had the hardest time with. I still haven't processed that. I really compartmentalized that whole thing, kind of keep it buried down, but he was really the true north. He lived down the road. He came over and borrowed my dog. He hung with my wife all the time. And he was the crutch I used. Like, why do you do this? Because I have to be able to perform at that level. You see him, you know him, you see what standard we're up against. Like, I have to be able to perform at that level. I have to. And he was always training, always in a gym, always fighting. Just, he was a pro. And she knew it. And she knew everybody else who was in that team was the exact same way. In order for me to hold the standard, meet the minimum standard, I have to do at least that. I was like, I can't do that as a 9 to 5. This is not working at some shoe store. Like, I need to do this all day, every day. It's the only thing I need to be. And I justified by telling her that nobody's going to die if I'm a 60% husband. Nobody. If I'm gone and I miss her second birthday, she will never know. She won't remember. But if I'm not there for her 16th birthday, she'll remember that. Like, it's a weird balance to do, especially when it's happening over and over and over again. It's like, I want to do this job until I'm 60. I want to do it as long as humanly possible, and I don't want to get killed doing it. But if that's what it takes, it's what it takes. I don't want to come home and have to lie about who I am or what I'm doing or the things I'm truly passionate about because it hurts your ego. And that's a lot of what it was, is I built myself into a character that didn't have anything externally drawn from him. I was single. Like, in my mindset, I was single. When I'd come home, I'd pretend to be a husband, I'd pretend to be a father, but I really couldn't because all I wanted to do was go back to work. And that's not because of anything else other than I love that job so much. And everybody that does the exact same thing. That's why there's such a fall from grace when you leave it. Because you never tell yourself you're going to leave it. It's never part of the plan. Not for the people that are really living it day in and day out. Like, it's too much fun. Like, the shit talk, the banter back and forth, the showing up early, the staying late, the everything. Living out of vans and hotel rooms and skydiving, just everything you do together, it's the best time you've ever had. And when you don't have it anymore, it's miserable. Now, if you haven't set yourself up to be able to get out and have a successful transition, it's even worse. And that's what happens to a lot of guys, is they are not prepared to leave. They don't want to leave. They never really thought about it. They come with the idea like, oh, I'll get out and I'll work at Goldman Sachs, or I'll get out and I'll do this. You've never really thought about it. You never really thought about what happens on Monday when you're out of the text chain. There's no email chats. There's nobody that's ever going to call you again and tell you to put that gear on. You're never going to do it again. That's a hard thing to swallow when you've only been putting that on for the last, for me, 17 years of my life. Like, it's kind of it's a surreal moment. And it's one you don't want to live over and over again. How did I get here? How do I get out of here? How do I get that back on? It's a realization it's never going to happen.
Sorry for interrupting this video, but I want to say a massive shout out to our sponsors, Huel. As you guys know, I've been using these for the last 2 years. If you're anything like me, you're going to struggle at times to get protein in. You're going to struggle to get your vitamins and minerals. And that's why I choose Black Edition all the time. It's got 26 vitamins and minerals. It's got 35 grams of protein, slow release carbs. And I know that I can grab this and get on with my day. Don't just take my word for it as well. I just want to shout out the hardest geezer who just ran the length of Africa, and he was just glugging these things as he went along. So it has everything that your body needs, whether you're trying to smash records and world records and that kind of stuff, or you're just trying to save some time, but also stay healthy. This stuff is fantastic. So head to the link in the description where you can find out more. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the podcast. I absolutely love this stuff, and I'll keep pushing them. Go to the link in the description. I mean, you fought it for a long time. Like, there was many moments by the sounds of it where you were actively being pulled aside, being told to stop many times, and you kind of pushed as hard as you could to continue.
I'd say that's my fault. I mean, that's everybody's fault. You fall in love with that job and you'll do anything to stay there. It's no different than alcoholic. You'll just hide it. Guys hide some pretty serious injuries. I mean, when I was going through training, I broke my femoral neck off skydiving. Snapped it off ball and socket. And I did another 40 or 50 jumps on it. I mean, I made it through the rest of training until we graduated. And then I went to the doctor and I was like, hey, man, this thing is real bad. And 2 days later, we did emergency surgery and pumped in 15 inches of titanium into it. It's like, I was not about to get rolled out of that class. Like, I don't care. And doctor's like, do you know how lucky you are to not get a total hip replacement, get medically retired? I was willing to do whatever it took to finish that course. I did not care. How many times I've been hurt overseas and blown this out or blown, I don't care. If I can actively get over there, and that's the ego. That's the selfishness. I think that's the clarity I have now. Like, you know, with all the injuries, with shoulder and hip related, like, was I 100%? No, I wasn't. There's multiple times where it's probably dangerous. Like, I can't reach my shoulder over my head to throw a grenade. My shoulder will pop out of socket. Could you imagine? I reach back to throw a grenade and it falls at my feet. It's like, but you justify in your head because you don't want to say no. You don't want to tap out, and nobody does. It's like, well, if you leave, then who's going to fill your spot? There's not another one. You can't just go pull one from admin. There's not one down there. Like, now you have a commitment to the team you really just don't want to let go of. And for a lot of guys, like, there's something beautiful in that. Like, that guy is willing to do whatever it takes just because he wants to be here that bad. Like, there's something poetic about it. And then at the other side, when you hear people that they'll tap out or they'll get really hurt and they'll have to do an injury, they don't want to do it. They don't want to leave. It's like, now they're forced to. And you're like, oh. So a lot of guys, what I do is you just stop associating with them. It's almost like a cancer. It's like they have leprosy. It's like they got injured, they got to pull out, and it's like, whoa, no. They're going through a nasty divorce. Like, they would just kind of scoot over a little bit when that's not what you should be doing. You should be reaching out every single day, making sure they still feel connected, checking in with them, but you don't. You can't, because you don't want their reality to become your reality. You just avoid it. You avoid the contact.
We thought it was going to be a quiet night. Saw some individuals run out of that house, and my boss came up to me and said, hey, let's wrap these guys up. We walked right into their ambush, right into what we call the kill zone, and literally they opened up on us. I took a round off my gun. I had my left night vision tube shot off. I thought my arm got shot off in the moment. The guys said they saw me stand up and turn and run to them when the round hit me from behind. It caught me right in front of the ear and traveled through. So they saw me fall in front of them and thought I was dead.